Jarrad, take us through the midfield battle on the weekend, how you saw it coming in. Obviously, the Dockers look quite strong. How did you see it unfold from your perspective?
Yeah, I'm very pleased with the outcome of our midfield. They're a young midfield. We knew there was going to be some real challenges. Freo have really shown how strong they are in around the football. We made sure that we scouted them heavily. But I thought the way that we managed the inside work, and not only there, but also the ground level game, was very pleasing from our midfield.
Your ability to do more with your clearances than they were able to do with theirs, was that the plan, to sort of not necessarily have quantity but quality of exits?
Well, first of all, get our hands on the ball, and that's the first foremost, is to match them in the pre-clearance, and I thought we did that. Stoppage, it's the inside part, but it's also what we do forward of the ball, and credit's got to be given to our forwards as well, be able to create a contest to not only win or halve those balls, which allows us to put pressure on the opposition or Freo's defence on the weekend. But it's more or less just getting an understanding of what we're doing and what Freo's strengths are. Freo's strengths are they're a number one handball exit side from clearance, and we wanted to try and take that away. And I thought our pressure around the ball allowed us to do that, and we got enough ball going forward, which gave our forwards a good opportunity to score.
What about the rucks and the ability to stop that from being an area of dominance for Fremantle?
I think it's what it shows, the growth of Bailey Williams and Jack Williams. Knowing that Darcy, a Premier Ruckman, comes into their side, does it change the mix? There's obviously questions for Freo, but for us, we just knew that we're up against two quality Ruckmen, and I think it just shows the growth of our Ruckmen. And all we ask them is to compete, and they've done that probably for the last 3 or 4 weeks really well, and how we support them at ground level limits the opposition's effectiveness. And we know probably deep down we're never going to probably be in the positive ledger of the hit-outs, but what we do ask our guys is to really compete and nullify the opposition.
So how much has Bailey Williams developed in that area, do you think, to become a guy who stops the other ruckman from being able to just put it wherever he wants it?
Oh, well, his growth has been on show like all last year, in the absence of obviously Nick Nat-Nui, who held the ruck mantle for a long period of time at this footy club. And this year we plan to have Flinny sort of shouldering the ruck, and obviously with the injury that he had pre-season, Bailey got thrown back into the ruck again. And I think the first probably 2 or 3 weeks we saw probably Bailey just trying to adjust to being that number one ruck, having spent a lot of time forward for us in the pre-season. And now that he's sort of found his mojo a bit, and with great support from Jack Williams, I think they've built a really good connection there.
Is it still the plan that when Matt Flynn comes back that Bailey will become a forward ruck?
Only time will tell. We know Matt Flynn can go forward as well, so only time will tell. But we'd like to think what we saw in pre-season, their relationship and connection that they were building was really strong. So only time will tell.
Does the club plan to use good character defence as part of Tom Barrass's challenge to his 1 week ban?
Well, don't know. Have to ask the people that will be defending Tom. But all I know is Tommy's a pretty good fella.
But do you think that the fact that they've done that with Charlie Cameron leaves it open for other clubs to run that defence, do you think?
Possibly. It's probably out of my league to be commenting on that. But yeah, possibly. Who knows?
If he doesn't get off and you are missing him, how do you kind of alleviate him not being there? What's the plan kind of going forward from there?
Yeah, look, it's obviously early in the week. We're planning that he's going to be playing, but we'll get to that. I don't know when the tribunal is for him, but once the outcome comes about, we'll discuss and work through that. But we've got guys that obviously they've been playing in the reserves for us, so in the waffle that we'll get a look at. But I think we've got a pretty good mix down back at the moment, and also it's what happens up the ground. So we'll discuss that later in the week.
The club's been given an extension to make a decision on what it does with the waffle. You had a good win over East Fremantle, not such a good outcome on the weekend. How are the coaches feeling about how the youngsters are developing at that level? Yeah,
I think that's an interesting point you asked in terms of how they're developing. I think that's the bigger picture that the footy club will look at, is what's best for the development of our players that are playing in the waffle or in our second side. So the decisions moving forward from the club, I think, will be based around what's best for their development, to make sure that we keep fast-tracking our players to play AFL football.
Are you concerned at all, given that I think 3 of the 4 games have resulted in fairly hefty losses?
Not concerned. Obviously, you want to win games, and when you lose, you don't want to be getting belted. As long as we play in the right way, that we show the trademark behaviours that we pride ourselves on within the four walls of this footy club. So as long as we're playing in the right way, the players are playing in the right way, and demonstrating that, and they're growing from week to week, that's what we look at as coaches internally. But yeah, we don't want to be losing by big margins, but they're young men that are playing as well, and they're going to be ups and downs from week to week.
So what would be the takeaways from, say, a game like the one on the weekend where they competed reasonably strongly for about half the game and then fell away? Do you feel like there was enough there for that to be a positive, or does that raise concerns, do you think?
Oh, there's definitely some positives early on in the game. I think there'll be some reviewing about some stuff later in the game that individuals wouldn't be too happy with, and that we're not happy with as well as coaches. But that's like all games of football. But I think we go back a week. We're really proud of the group in terms of how they played against the reigning premiers, and I think that's evidence. So the evidence and belief part is a big part of making sure that the progression of our young fellas that are playing in our waffle side is acknowledged, and we give them affirmation based around that, so that weekly they become more consistent.
How much, it's all very well to plan, as you did all summer, for small wins, as you called them, especially targeted areas you want to be better in. But how important is it to have results that reinforce that leads somewhere? Like, how much of the results of the last 2 weeks, how much positive impact do you think that has on the group?
Massive to the group. As I said, it's when you give evidence of what we've been chasing with the small wins and what we're chasing from an identity part, gives belief to the players that what we're chasing is there when they do it in larger portions of the game. And we've seen that over the last sort of few weeks. We saw it in the Sydney game. We felt like we're on the right track. It was a game that right in it, and it's been able to be carried over into the last 2 weeks. So there's a lot of evidence there that when we get it right, we're a very competitive side. And testament to the boys, we've had 2 really good wins on the road.
So how do you maintain that level now, I guess from a coaching perspective? How do you make sure that that's what comes most weeks from a young squad?
Don't deviate on what our what it looks like for our identity part. Don't deviate from where our build is and where we're heading. Yes, we want to win games, but we've got to look at the bigger picture about why we're doing well. And I think it comes back to the collective, that we're playing good team football. We've narrowed our focus on what we're chasing. It's pretty simple for the players to see, but I think the collective is when they see affirmation around that. I think it's important, and that's what we're installing across the 2 teams.
Do you actually reinforce that in the players? Do you actually tell them the bigger picture, or is that just a given?
Oh no, it's not so much. But we highlight trademark behaviours to the players and to the playing group, and this obviously is a key part to how we're playing as a team.
Gold Coast, that's probably going to become a pretty big challenge in the AFL fixture. So how do you tackle that this week?
Plan and prepare like we do every game. We're obviously on the road, longer flight. But yeah, look, we understand it's a challenge. We're playing away from home, but at the same time, what we're doing in terms of our preparation and how we plan each week and how we're playing a brand of football that we're chasing will hopefully hold us in good stead.
How much of the change in energy of the group has been about having your best and oldest fit and available, and how much of it is about the energy that someone like Harley has brought to the group? Yeah,
it's a really good balance. We're seeing Elliot Yeo back to career best form. Our leaders are leading really well. They've had great pre-seasons and they've started the year really well. But it's what they're doing with their leadership qualities on ground, which is helping the younger fellas play well and play consistent footy. And there's the excitement around our young fellas. I know Harley's getting a lot of hype. Me mentioning him now, but there's the other fellas that are playing really well as well. Like Noah Long. Ruben Jimby's growing, Campbell Chess is growing, Brady Hoff down half back. So the list goes on. So it's exciting for the younger fellas to be playing good footy, and they've got great support from our leaders that are leading really well.
Did you get out of the weekend okay? A day further on? Yeah. All right, no bad injuries or anything?
Well, I haven't had a review from the medical staff, but all reports say it's pretty positive.